If you've ever hopped on a snowmobile, you know there's nothing like tearing across a frozen lake at full throttle. You feel unstoppable, wind freezing your cheeks, until out of nowhere you hit that bump you never saw coming, your helmet nearly flies off, and suddenly you're asking yourself why you even bought this thing. Yeah, we've all been there at least once. But seriously, snowmobiling isn't just a hobby. For millions across North America, it's part of daily life. People ride snowmobiles for adventure, work, or just to get around in winter. But there's something lurking beneath all that freedom and excitement that nobody likes to talk about. Every single year, hundreds of riders lose their lives on snowmobiles, and thousands more suffer devastating, life-changing injuries. And the worst part, a lot of these accidents were completely preventable. Today's snowmobiles are faster, more powerful, and way more capable than ever before. But safety awareness hasn't caught up. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Do you enjoy the video? Your support means the world to us. Help us grow and hit that subscribe button. Speeding, drinking, lack of experience, and sketchy terrain mean even a casual ride can quickly turn deadly. Rules exist, sure, but let's be honest. Most people either ignore them or don't even know they exist. So what's really going on? Why are snowmobile accidents on the rise? And what can we do to actually stop it? Stick around because we're going deep into the hidden dangers of snowmobiling. And trust me, if you ride, you need to hear this. Snowmobiling has come a long way since its early days. What started as a practical way to get around in snowy regions is now a massive multi-billion-dollar industry, with over 1.2 million registered snowmobiles across North America. From cruising on frozen lakes to exploring epic mountain trails, snowmobiling blends adventure and practicality, hooking riders of all ages. For a lot of people, snowmobiles aren't just for fun, they're essential. In places like Alaska or northern Canada, these machines literally keep communities alive, helping people hunt, travel, or carry supplies through snow that no other vehicle can handle. But let's be honest, for most of us, it's not about survival. It's about the rush, that addictive feeling of speed, fresh powder, and absolute freedom out in the wild. And it's only getting bigger. Huge events like the International 500 Snowmobile Race and the X Games Snowmobile Freestyle are pushing the limits, showing everyone just how extreme snowmobiling can get. Social media makes things crazier too, with endless viral videos of huge jumps, deep powder rides, and insane speeds. But there's a dark side. As snowmobiling becomes faster, bigger, and more popular, accidents are rising too. The real question is, do riders actually understand the risks they're taking? Snowmobiling might be more popular than ever, but let's face it, it's also becoming more dangerous. Every winter, tragic stories hit the news, from riders buried in avalanches to deadly crashes on frozen lakes or collisions with trees nobody saw coming. In North America alone, snowmobile accidents claim more than 200 lives each year and injure thousands more. Honestly, that's way too many tragedies for something that's supposed to be fun. The numbers don't lie. Minnesota recently saw a huge spike in snowmobile deaths, with alcohol and high speed consistently topping the list of causes. Wisconsin and Michigan, two other major snowmobiling hotspots, aren't doing much better, reporting rising fatalities each winter. And in Canada, provinces like Ontario and Quebec routinely experience dozens of deadly crashes every season. So, what's behind this rise in accidents? Well, experts say one major reason is just how insanely powerful modern snowmobiles have become. Decades ago, hitting 50 mph felt like flying. Now, some machines can blast past 120 mph. Sure, that's thrilling, but it also means way less time to react if something suddenly goes wrong. Another factor, more riders than ever are heading into dangerous backcountry terrain, often completely unaware of hidden risks like avalanches, thin ice, and sudden whiteouts. Safety regulations do exist, but enforcement is spotty at best. And let's be real, many riders either ignore the rules or simply don't know they exist. With accidents rising, it's time to ask a tough question. Are snowmobiles getting too powerful, too fast, and too dangerous for the average rider to handle? Let's be honest. Snowmobile accidents don't just randomly happen. When you look at the facts, it's clear riders keep making the same deadly mistakes over and over. First up, excessive speed. Look, we all love going fast. Snowmobiles are powerful machines, and it's tempting to push them to the limit. But hitting speeds of 100 plus mph seriously reduces your ability to react. Your stopping distance shoots way up, and one wrong move at those speeds could mean smashing into a tree, another rider, or even sailing off a cliff. And let's face it, your reaction time doesn't exactly improve at night or in sketchy weather conditions. Then there's alcohol and drug impairment. Snowmobiling culture often blends riding with partying. People stop at trailside bars or crack open drinks at remote spots. But here's the scary part. Studies show that 40–50% of fatal crashes involve alcohol. Drinking seriously slows your reflexes, clouds your judgment, and can trick you into believing you're invincible. That combination turns a fun ride into a deadly gamble pretty quickly. Next up, operator inexperience. Plenty of new riders underestimate just how tricky riding a snowmobile actually is. Unlike cars, snowmobiles don't have brakes at all four corners. Stopping and turning require real skill, especially in emergencies. Newbies often panic, flipping their sleds, crashing, or plunging through thin ice, all because they didn't realize what they were getting into. And finally, environmental hazards. Nature isn't predictable. Avalanches, sudden blizzards, and thin ice can turn an awesome ride into your worst nightmare. Every year, riders drown after falling through seemingly safe ice or get trapped in freak storms without survival gear, making rescue nearly impossible. Most snowmobile accidents come down to rider decisions. The risks are real, but too many riders ignore them until it's far too late. One snowmobile crash can change, or even end, your life in a split second. When things go wrong on a snowmobile, they tend to go very wrong. The injuries riders face are usually brutal. Broken bones, spinal cord injuries, brain trauma, internal bleeding, you name it. Unlike cars, snowmobiles don't have airbags or seatbelts to protect you when things get ugly. It's just you versus whatever you hit. Every winter, hospitals see thousands of people rushed into emergency rooms with severe snowmobile-related injuries. Even if you survive, recovery often means months or even years of painful rehab, and some riders never fully heal. Paralysis, amputations, and permanent brain damage happen way more often than anyone likes to admit. But the damage isn't just physical, it hits hard emotionally too. A fun weekend ride can turn into a lifelong tragedy, leaving friends and families shattered and asking themselves how something meant to be fun went so wrong. Plus, think about first responders, many of them volunteers, risking their own safety to rescue injured riders stranded in remote, dangerous locations. And then there's the money. Medical bills pile up quickly, plus lost wages, and lifelong care can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. For people without good insurance, a single accident can mean financial ruin. The impact isn't just personal, it affects entire communities. Emergency services, rescue operations, and law enforcement resources get stretched thin, leading some places to rethink trail access entirely. The truth? One careless moment on a snowmobile can have devastating consequences that last forever. With all these dangers, you'd think snowmobile safety would be a big deal, right? But honestly, not enough is being done. Sure, plenty of states and provinces have snowmobile safety courses, but they're usually optional if you're an adult. So right now, thousands of riders hit the trails every winter without any formal training. Unlike driving a car or motorcycle, riding a snowmobile comes with fewer rules, and basically anyone can hop on and go. Organizations like the International Snowmobile Manufacturers Association, ISMAA, and the American Council of Snowmobile Associations, ACSA, do promote safer riding habits. They push campaigns on zero alcohol riding, helmets, and avalanche preparedness. But it's all voluntary, and plenty of riders still shrug it off. Manufacturers have stepped up a bit too, adding safety features like GPS tracking, speed limiters, and emergency shutoffs. But let's be honest, the rider is still the biggest factor when it comes to staying safe. Stricter laws could help: mandatory safety training, tougher DUI enforcement, or lower speed limits. But snowmobiling is all about freedom, and many riders just don't want more rules. The big question is, how do we balance rider safety with that feeling of freedom we all love, without completely killing the fun? Even when there are safety measures on paper, actually enforcing them is a totally different story. Snowmobile trails span thousands of miles, often cutting through remote wilderness where law enforcement just can't regularly patrol. That means plenty of riders feel free to take big risks, knowing the chances of getting caught are slim. Take drunk riding, for example. DUI laws for snowmobiling exist, but they're rarely enforced. Think about it. On roads, cops can set up sobriety checkpoints, but on snowmobile trails? Not happening. Most impaired riders only get stopped once it's too late, after they've crashed. Speeding is another tough one. Sure, some states have trail speed limits, but let's be real. Nobody's standing out in the snow with a radar gun. Riders frequently max out their machines, especially on frozen lakes or wide-open backcountry trails. And there's another big obstacle: Snowmobiling culture itself. A lot of riders have a rebellious attitude. They see snowmobiling as an escape from everyday rules and restrictions. Many actively resist new safety regulations, arguing snowmobiling should remain about personal responsibility and freedom, not government oversight. Between limited enforcement and the ride-at-your-own-risk mentality, changing attitudes is seriously tough. Until mindsets shift, accidents will keep rising. Technology is definitely stepping up its game when it comes to snowmobile safety. Modern sleds now have some pretty impressive features like GPS tracking to keep riders away from sketchy areas or to help rescuers find you faster. There are also speed limiters, letting parents control just how fast younger riders can actually go. Avalanche airbags are becoming common too, seriously improving survival odds when things go wrong in the backcountry. Plus, automatic engine shutoff systems can stop the sled immediately if you get thrown off. But let's be real. No matter how cool this tech is, it can't completely stop human error. Safety features only help if riders actually use them right. Plenty of people disable speed limiters or ignore GPS alerts, convinced they're invincible, until they're not. Bottom line, technology helps, but educating riders and promoting responsible behavior is still the most powerful way to keep everyone safe. For riders who survive snowmobile crashes, life changes instantly. Mike Thompson was an experienced rider, until he slammed into a tree at high speed, breaking his spine. He's now paralyzed from the waist down. "I never imagined it could happen to me," Mike admits. Then there's Lisa Carter, whose husband drowned after his sled broke through thin ice. "He was always so careful," she says quietly, "but one mistake was all it took." Stories like Mike's and Lisa's are powerful reminders. Even experienced riders aren't immune. All it takes is a single wrong move, and your life can change forever. Snowmobiling isn't going anywhere. It's way too fun and deeply embedded in winter culture. But as these machines get faster and more powerful, the risks just keep piling up. Accidents are increasing, lives are lost, families torn apart, yet safety still feels like an afterthought to many riders. Let's be honest, snowmobile safety depends on us. Tougher laws might help, better training would make a difference, but mostly, it comes down to smarter decisions. Because if we don't start taking safety seriously, the next tragic story could hit way closer to home. And trust me, no one thinks it'll be them.